Hello, what is up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to FSP, Fun Speculation Podcast, episode number 8. Happy to be here, and I want to say thank you to the chat and everyone who ends up watching this either live or after the fact, either on YouTube or on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or whatever you choose. And I also want to say thanks to my two compadres here for joining me every week on this Saturday podcast for Fun Speculation. So thank you to Fuzzy Key. And hey, Key, man, I know you've been like crazy busy with work. You haven't even had a chance to set up your whole new PC yet, which would be killing me personally. I have to have this like new rig and just don't even have the time to mess with it.
Yeah, it's literally just sitting there and wave by to it every day.
Yeah. Yes, I'll see you one day, friend.
I'll see you in a couple weeks. Just wait on me. Just wait on me. But no, I'm hopefully in the next few weeks I'll be free to the point where I can set up and see what it's really about and get back to, playing some games and streaming.
Heck yeah,
I miss it a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, dude. Especially like this time of year too, with all this stuff going on. Halo just dropped. You have the Game Awards happening. You got all this stuff. So, hey, props to you for going to work hard, and you'll have that time to catch up for sure at some point.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
And also, hey, Fuzzy, what's up with you, man? How's it been going?
Oh, it's been going pretty good. Man, the Game Awards it was long, but some very interesting stuff shown and some good awards given out. But man, there's just so much to look forward to between this holiday and next year in gaming. It's going to be a fun time, man. Oh man, I'm looking forward to it.
How much stuff was like shown? I mean, I didn't actually like write down everything. Like I'm not a note taker. I'm really bad at that kind of stuff, right? But man, it just seems like there was like so much to the fact that to the point where it's like hard to keep up with everything. So I think some stuff kind of got lost in the shuffle a little bit, right? That may otherwise be kind of bigger news, but at the same time, it's amazing to have like one big event that creates this buzz and this spectacle, right? So I think they did overall. I think they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, it's definitely becoming a a nice segue from like E3. As far as E3 is like the middle of the year, you get to see everything that might be coming in time for the holidays. And then the Game Awards is kind of like the putting the bow on it at the end. So you look forward to what's coming hopefully early next year or some point next year, as well as, going over the list of games from, that previous year that, deserve accolades and such.
So Key, like you didn't have a chance to watch it live, obviously, but you kind of went back and like checked out some of the trailers. So was there like a one major thing that kind of stood out to you?
You know what? Yes and no, really. Yeah. I actually had mixed feelings about the award show, which I guess we'll get off into soon. But just to answer your question, seeing some of the trailers and some of the announcements, I would probably say that it was okay for me. It was okay.
The
I've seen a
did
few
you have a
release
chance to
dates.
see the Hellblade 2 gameplay yet?
Yes, now Hellblade. You know what? Which is another topic. Hopefully, we'll get off into with the Hellblade versus the Forbidden West thing. But
right.
yeah, Hellblade definitely blew me away. Like, wow. Like I had to go back and watch the original trailer, which back then they said was gameplay, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
The original
Yes.
trailer was in engine, but like it was like more of like a cutscene in the engine type deal, right? But this
Right.
is like just straight up gameplay.
This is straight gameplay. Yeah, straight a level here you'll be playing.
Mm-hmm.
So just going back and looking at the difference between little details as far as like the makeup on the face and the facial expressions and things like that. Man, it's crazy what some of these developers can do with just enough time to do. When you got a company that's not rushing you to put out stuff and pushing you and time, this is the results you get. And man, Hellblade looks freaking amazing. I can't wait to play that. That I cannot wait to play. That jumped probably to my top 5 games to play of next year, maybe top 3, honestly.
Top 3. Okay. What would be like up there? What else is up there for you? You think?
Well, it was definitely God of War because I want to see how they're going to end the saga, the whole trilogy, not trilogy, but the double game type deal. I want to see how they're going to do that. Like I said, Forbidden West, I want to play, but to be fair, I own Forbidden West, the first one. I have not played it. I own it since day one. Just a lot of games I didn't play on the PlayStation because it was too damn loud for me and annoying. So a lot of games I own, but I have not played it.
It's funny because you were streaming a lot probably last gen too, right? So like funny thing, when I got my PS5 and I plugged it in, like I had to rearrange my whole setup because like no matter what I did, like and it's not like the PS5 is not loud. I'm not saying it's loud, right? But it makes more noise than the Series X, right? So especially because I did buy Ratchet and Clank on disc, right? So I was using the disc tray, so it was causing my desk to vibrate so much that it was picking it up through the microphone.
Oh, microphone, really?
Yeah. So
wow.
like I had which I never had happened on the Xbox. So I had to like rig some stuff and create like a bunch of cushion. And eventually I ended up having to get the like the thingy that goes around your mic. I forget what it's called. But it like kind of makes it to where it doesn't pick up any vibrations, right? And usually that was more for like banging on your desk with your fingers and that kind of stuff. But this was like just a pure hum. People, and I didn't hear it, right? But people were like saying, "What's that humming noise?" When I was streaming, I was like, "I don't know. Like, what are you talking about?" Yeah, so it started being a thing. So I could. My point is like the PS5 is like not it's not a big thing with the PS5, but I could imagine having like a PS4 here on a desk setup, right? And having that going. you know, because it was pretty loud at the time.
Even to, I remember playing streaming Ghost of Tsushima, and I was like, you know what? Probably 40 minutes into it, I just stopped the stream. Like, I'm sorry, you guys, but this fan is killing me. Like, it was just loud, and again, you know, the audience can hear it depending on where your system is.
Right.
So, like I said, a lot of games I did not play on the PS5. I bought it, it's sitting in the library, but because of the noise, the things, it just I skipped out on a lot of games. And Forbidden West was one of them, which I might go back and play now.
Yeah.
But who knows?
But you're excited for this new one, and I'm actually kind of like you, like Horizon. I didn't really play the first one too much. I did play it, right? But when I played it, I kind of I got into it a little bit, and then I kind of put it down, and I just never it never grabbed me to the point that I felt like I needed to push forward, right? Or I cared enough to. The gameplay was solid. It was a gorgeous game. I kind of liked the story, but it just didn't click. And there's so much stuff to play that it was just kind of I'll go back to it at some point, right? But this new one actually has me more really excited. I think it seems more colorful, and something about it is kind of clicking more with me. What about you, Fuzzy? But what stood out and jumped out to you at the Game Awards?
Oh, the biggest thing, hands down, Hellblade 2. Yeah. And the fact that was gameplay, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, that can't be gameplay. You can kind of see where it goes from the cutscene move to, all right, she's now running, and that has to be controlled by a player, or she's throwing the spear, and that's more likely controlled by the player. So the seamlessness of it was awesome. The atmosphere, I know a few of us joked on Twitter, it's what'd that giant do to you guys type of thing, or looked like the guy just wanted to take a nap. But they with seeing they set him on fire, the smoke when he kind of rolled over, and the smoke you can see was orange because of the flames in the background. Then the guy is running out on fire and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, all horrible things, but it was amazing to see just the level of detail, and just I guess the scope of things, because you're fighting this giant as a human-sized character, but the giant being able to just kind of swat you with their hands, or it was picking up some people and biting them in half and stuff. That really grabbed my attention. So just like Key, it's definitely up in my top 3 as far as games I'm looking forward to. I was already looking forward to because I had the first one, but I'm glad to see that they kept the audio cues like they had in the original one. Although I haven't watched the video with headphones on, but playing the game with headphones and just seeing how or hearing how they still have the voices in their head where it's look out, or the bones and so forth. All that stuff is just so important as far as I'm looking forward to this game. Outside of that, an old school game is getting a new or a new title or new add-on in the series, Homeworld, which I played Homeworld 1 and 2 early on in my PC days, and it's good to see that that's coming out, or Homeworld 3 is coming out. I was hoping it would make it to console, but I can kind of understand a space RTS where you can make thousands of ships might be a little bit too much for the consoles to handle, but it was cool seeing that game is being made. As far as other standouts, kind of the odd one is Psychonauts 2 didn't get any awards. That kind of surprised me in a way. I expected them to at least get something. If they didn't get Game of the Year, at least something, whether it be the accessibility or the narrative or something along those lines. But they kind of got snubbed on that one. But outside of that,
but you know what, Fuzzy? Didn't they say the same thing about Ratchet and Clank? They say neither one of them won anything, right?
Yeah, I wait, did Ratchet get something, or no? They didn't get anything either. I know Returnal got something.
got one thing, but I don't know. Maybe they didn't. I don't know.
It may have been like level design or something like that.
I can't remember, man. Yeah.
But
yeah, I thought I seen people talking about neither one of them won.
Yeah, maybe it didn't get anything either. I'm trying to remember, but I honestly I can't remember. The awards they just didn't make a big deal about a lot of them, so it's kind of like it didn't stand out.
Well, it's funny how they rolled the one for Forza where they got audio, ray trace audio, kind of figured that one, although there were some other good candidates up there that they were up against, but the ray trace audio I think was probably that caveat that pushed them forward, because using that new tech, that's hopefully where a lot of games will start moving in that direction as well. And then Forza got for accessibility. And then they quickly mentioned, along with that, they also get the sporting and racing category. It's like, wait a minute, that's kind of the main category that they were put in. And you kind of like said that under your breath with the accessibility, which the accessibility aspect is very important. But it just seemed like they, I guess, wanted to move along with the time. And it's like, okay, I understand this is a 3-hour show, but still, it just seems like we kind of like wanted to brush that under the rug with them not even being nominated for like Game of the Year, which, that I'm past that part. But it was also cool to see Cuphead, finally the DLC. And I totally understand with that, with all those, images and animations being hand drawn. I guess we're lucky we even got this soon, but man, it's great to see that that's coming out soon or coming out next year. I didn't hear anything about the online multiplayer, so you don't have to just do couch co-op. Would like to see that happen, but it was kind of like hush hush. They didn't say anything in regards to it. But outside of that, there was a few surprises. Like Star Wars wise, was not expecting what Quantic Dream is working on at all. Like I know, like I kind of we know Ubisoft is working on a Star Wars game, so at first I was like, wait, this is too soon for Ubisoft's game, and didn't think of it didn't seem like it was Return of or Jedi Fallen Order 2 or anything, but it's kind of a nice surprise to get that new Star Wars game in the works type of deal. But I mean, there were some other standouts, but man, those were probably the biggest ones. The Star Wars, and Wonder Woman. Now we're gonna have a Wonder Woman game finally, which, man, how long has it been? It seems like that should have been something
like that. I mean, besides maybe some like shovelware type stuff in the past,
Yeah, like, I don't. Unless she's been a character in like the what do you call them? Not Mortal Kombat, but the other one.
Injustice.
Injustice, yeah. But yeah, having her own game finally, that's awesome. Like, it's great. We're having like a Batman thing coming out, and we also have Suicide Squad, but having a Wonder Woman game, and looks like they're going to put a lot of emphasis on like the combat and story and stuff like that. So looking forward to that, although that might be a couple of years out as well. But and Justice League, not the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, that definitely looking hyped or looking forward to that. Definitely hyped up for it.
My excitement for that was elevated after the Game Awards, because this is the first time we've really seen gameplay of it, and it just looks like a ton of fun. It's almost like Sunset Overdrive meets Arkham meets Infamous, right? It just has like this really cool vibe too, and it does have co-op, and it's single player playable as well, right? So I could just imagine having a lot of fun with that game, right? A lot of talented devs out there, and man, WB showed up big today, because not only did they show that, right, but they had the what's the Wonder Woman game, right?
Yeah.
Then they had Gollum, and then they had the Matrix, and then they had the Matrix demo thing, right? So it was like a lot of WB stuff here, the Wonder Woman game was a huge surprise for me.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't heard anything about this or rumblings or anything, and maybe I missed some, out there, but Monolith
But
is no joke. Monolith is a Lord of the Rings Shadow of Mordor games, and they're gonna potentially bring that Nemesis style system to as like a superhero game, like involving Wonder Woman. Like that just sounds amazing to me.
But there was a one time, wasn't any rumors out there, which I wonder what happened. There was supposed to be a Superman game, and it was always a Superman game being made, then it's canceled, or they're gonna sweep it up under the rug, or it's gonna take a little longer before the announcement. Like the game is real, which is not real, you know what I'm saying? But then all of a sudden they come out with Wonder Woman. So I wonder, was that just, the team saying, hey, you know what? Let's do Wonder Woman instead, because people do kind of want a Superman game. But it might be a lot more fun with Wonder Woman, which again, I'm like you, it was a shocker and excitement at the same time, because it's time to get new superheroes out there, Like we have so many superheroes that can tell a great story, and just not your Batman, your Superman.
Yeah.
Like, yes, Wonder Woman, I feel like if it's successful, it would definitely open the doors up for other games, for other characters.
But what's one superhero you want to see a game from? Like them really go big time, not like a little, double A, project from a studio that's kind of like, the license is going to expire for a year and they're never going to sell it again. It's going to be removed from stores. The typical stuff we get. But like, what do you want to see a superhero like utilize well that's never been done before?
I don't know, because right now for me, I feel like, and I'm always thinking outside the box. I want a villain game. Give me a villain game. People want the Deadpool. People want Blade. Like, that's them the two you've been hearing about more and more. Blade and not Deadpool, Daredevil.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Like.
Well, I think that's happening.
I want to. Yeah, I think it's happening as well.
Amy Hennig or whatever, her studio that she started. That's what the rumor is that it's I mean, this was like a big leak, I think. Like, that it's a big time, big budget Daredevil game, like Arkham style,
And that's going to be. Let's just be real. That's going to be successful. Like, that's going to be amazing. Especially if they do it to the point where maybe he could probably do something with his eyes, where the environment turn red, and picking up sound and stuff with his eyes. Like, yeah, I could see it already. But I really want a villain game. I want a real villain game.
Yeah. So who would it be? Like Joker, or like you want to do like
No, I don't.
Riddler?
I don't want a Joker. No.
Green Goblin. Let's go. A Green Goblin would be cool.
Yeah, that would be fun. Flying around with anything. But no, I don't know. That's the thing. Like, who could be a villain with great combat, a great story, and also, if you're a villain, that means it has to be some type of superhero.
Well, here's the thing. As well. I think Venom would fit, right? Because when I think of it, there was a game that had aspects that reminded me a lot of Venom, and it was also based on comics, and that was The Darkness. Where like Jackie had this like, just like possessed by this thing. I don't remember, but he like spoke to him, kind of like Venom would, right, to Eddie Brock, and then like they're kind of dark and don't give a crap about anything, but it could work.
That's an example I'm talking about. That would be a good, something different,
For
that's
sure.
a great example right there. So that's why I said, like, I don't know who exactly. And chat, help me out, throw a villain name out there that actually makes sense, like you say, Joker would be fun, but at the same time, besides Joker being just psycho, he really don't have nothing to stand out for as combat, I mean, a knife, but his goons, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like it needs to make sense or have some type of long gameplay and a nice story. So I don't know. I'm gonna give it.
Maybe that's what we're gonna get with Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, because you got King Shark, you got Captain Boomerang, you got Harley Quinn, and I think it's Deadshot. Was the other one.
That's why I'm excited for that. That's exactly why I'm excited for that, because like you said, you play as the villains. You know, although you're quote unquote the superhero of the story, you know, the hero of the story, but you still playing as these villains. And yeah.
Dude,
I can't wait.
Mike Lowry has like the best idea, I think, ever in the chat here. A Thanos game where you collect all the stones and fight the Avengers through missions. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
See,
yeah, that would be amazing.
Sense. That makes sense. You know, like he have a strong story on top of he's powerful enough where he can actually go up against the superheroes. You know, like that's perfect. Mike, that's perfect. That's perfect.
And you can kind of see the gameplay elements there, because he's gonna get new abilities as you get more stones.
Yep. You know what I mean? Upgrades and things like that. Like
upgrade your
right there.
Gauntlet with the space dwarf. I forget his name. But hey, Fuzzy.
Can you guys imagine it? Like, let me just say this right quick.
Yeah.
Imagine it. You know, let's go back to Ratchet & Clank and Psychonaut. Can you just imagine him using the stones and just going from like world to world, like
dude, that'd be insane. Yes,
that would be crazy. That would be crazy. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
So Fuzzy, like we had, I mean, obviously Hellblade 2, right? And we have Horizon Forbidden West. Those were like two big gameplay trailers that we saw that wowed a lot of people, right? Obviously Horizon Forbidden West is coming a lot sooner than Hellblade 2, right?
Yeah.
We also had a lot of other things shown. Like, do you feel like, did anything stand out for you from Nintendo at all? Because I know we got a star from Xbox, we got a star from PlayStation, but first party wise, was there anything there that you can remember that really stood out for you for Nintendo, or did they just kind of skip it almost? But I know they didn't. There's Nintendo Switch stuff, you know. But like, I don't know.
there was just like one Switch game, but it didn't really draw me in. Kind of like
it was like a Monster Hunter game.
Like I enjoyed Monster Hunter when it was on Xbox and PlayStation. This last one, well, not the last one, because the last one I think was also just a Switch game, but the one before that, where they eventually did the Iceland DC or DLC and stuff like that. That was pretty cool. Although I got into it late, so a lot of people that leveled up and everything had already moved on to other games. But they had Monster Hunter, although it didn't quite grab me like, you know, the one that was on the other consoles before. But they just didn't seem to, at least that I can recall, push anything out there that, well, then again, I'm not the biggest Nintendo fan, but anything that would catch like somebody on the fence like myself, where it's like, do I get a new Switch or something along those lines? They didn't really put anything out there that grabbed my attention, at least at that at the award show or anything.
I mean, and I was able to call the Monster Hunter game when I saw it. Like, I was like, oh, that's gonna be on the Switch, you know, or this is a Switch thing, right? So after that, like, I don't know, man. I didn't really, unless I'm missing something, you know, I can't recall any like big appearance there. You know, I just find that interesting. You know, I know that, okay, so one thing was Metroid Dread won a big award, right? So shout out to the developers. They even had Doug Bowser there to accept the award, right? And this is very, very deserved. I mean, I didn't play through that whole game. I did try the free thing they have. My hope is that in the future, if they release like a more powerful Switch, that maybe it'll be like better resolution and all that kind of stuff on my big screen, right, where I want to play that. But as far as like the handheld game, it was beautiful artistically, and the game seemed really solid. It was of that classic Metroid. The controls were a little funky, right? As kind of having trouble adjusting to those controls because I played it quite a bit. Yeah, I do see how that game could win a big award. But other than that, is like kind of like missing Nintendo at the show. I wanted to see maybe Breath of the Wild 2. They had this little like sizzle reel trailer with like a bunch of little things showing, and Breath of the Wild 2 was in there, you know, but it didn't. There wasn't like a big Breath of the Wild thing, or you know what, any other major big reveals from Nintendo. So I'm guessing they just either don't see the value in the Game Awards, or just want to keep doing their own thing, or they don't have very much to show compared to the other companies, you know, because PlayStation and Xbox had, you know, besides like first party, they each showed like one major thing, but besides that, they had a lot of like multi-platform third-party games that are going to be coming on Xbox and PlayStation that looked amazing. Arc Raiders, oh my god, like that one really jumped out for me. You know, like that's a new developer, but it made out of X Dice guys, so it's the X Battlefield devs, and with a new publisher, new studio, making a big budget, big time game like Arc Raiders, and they started it off with the reveal with gameplay. That was a surprise, man. That game, I think people need to really keep their eye on. It kind of reminded me of like a more realistic Lost Planet style game in a way, with the, you know, it had you co-op team up working against like a big giant enemy, you know. So I'm excited about that one. Did you have a chance to see the Arc Raiders?
Yeah, that one, they kind of leaked like a little like 5 or 10 second blip on their Twitter. I guess it was like on Wednesday or something like that. And they're like, oh yeah, check out our complete unveiling on the Game Awards. And it was definitely a worthwhile check or you know, announcement and stuff, because that one for me, it was like everything I like about the Division, but in space kind of thing, where you got the drones that you have to, you know, stay out of sight, and otherwise you'll get swarmed by those. And then I guess that leads back to that big spider bot thing that you got to fight. So yeah, it definitely looks like it's going to be some fun for their first game as a new studio. I'm real anxious to see and looking forward to how that turns out. But that was a nice, you know, for their first time showing, that was a nice trailer as well.
Man, so much stuff, dude. It's like hard to remember everything. There was like Dune RTS. It's coming back. It's a 4-time strategy game though. So that was interesting. And then you have a couple other games going. What was that?
I think one of the biggest shockers that came out of left field was Alan Wake too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. We already kind of knew that was in development, but had no idea like if it was going to be shown, when, where, you know. Maybe they said something. I don't know. I don't recall. But dude, they actually had a really cool trailer though, and like talking about going into that more survival horror, like straight up survival horror with this one. Was that a surprise? Like thinking of, you know, less of the psychological kind of like mystery stuff, but instead survival horror aspects. Alan Wake 2. Like, does that excite you, or does that deter you away?
I would say that excites me. Like,
just definitely exciting.
Yeah, we need more horror games out there, and I'm trying to remember the name of that other one that's kind of like a Silent Hill style game. Man, that one, that's definitely got some nightmare fuel going on in its trailer. Slitherhead or something like that.
So Slitterhead or Slitterface or something like that. Slitterhead. Yeah, that was crazy, man. Like action horror more is like it kind of reminded me of like a Devil May Cry, but a horror game. You know what I mean? It's crazy. It's a little too close. Slitterhead, you know. What about you, Key?
I'm also excited about.
Go ahead, man.
Oh no, I was about to say I'm also excited about. Well, no, just to answer your question with Alan Wake, like I always enjoy a horror game. You know, I didn't bother remastering that just came out because just having too many games as is, you know. But yeah, I'm really digging this. Like when I first seen it, I thought about Silent Hill. Like that's popped in my mind for a split second, just the way the camera was going and you know, just the environment and everything. Like Silent Hill popped in my mind immediately. Like we are about to get it finally because I'm a huge Silent Hill fan. I love it. So seeing which direction they're going into with this one, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. This already a day one buy for me already. Nice. I just want to see more gameplay. You know, more gameplay, shall I say? Not more. Some gameplay.
Alan Wake 1, if like that's any barometer, you know that this is going to be good. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like some games like you worry about. Oh, I need like, and then some games I think you can just inherently be excited for because of your trust in the dev, right? And Remedy is one of those teams. I mean, they don't really make bad games, you know.
If they're making bad games, then let's just be real. The company is about to sink. And they're just trying to make some money to keep it together. If they ever make a bad game. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, they because they got a lot of things going on too. Because another thing that was announced, finally we got a date for Crossfire X, which is coming to February. And that's where I think that that's being published by Smilegate, and it's unclear exactly what all platforms that's releasing on now, where it used to be kind of marketed very heavily with Xbox. It kind of seems like that's shifted a little bit. So interesting things going on with that game. However, Crossfire X, we did finally get a date, and it is February, and Remedy did the single player campaign for that, whereas Smilegate's been doing the multiplayer. So hey, that's only a few months away, so that was kind of a surprise as well.
Yeah.
Is that something like I don't know why Fuzzy, but Crossfire X to me kind of seems up your alley a little bit.
Yeah, like although the multiplayer was I won't say it was broken, but it was a different style. Like after figuring out that it's better just to run with a knife because you can run faster and stab people faster that they can shoot, it became fun in the sense of just exploiting that, I guess, to some extent. But they said that they were going to get that all worked out, so hopefully it'll be more of like a tactical based type shooter when they get it all situated.
I mean, that was a long time ago. When did you play it? Because I played that beta too, and I was like not impressed at all, right, with the multiplayer.
Yeah, the only thing that was fun at the time was that, you know, as before you would get, you know, spawn camped and stuff, was getting out there at least. And if you played it tactically, it worked well. But then once people started just rushing the objective with knives and then stabbing anybody that came by because they're running twice as fast, that's where it was like, oh yeah, they definitely got to do something about this. But the single player campaign is the main thing I'm looking forward to, because Remedy is as slow as they may be when it comes to making games, they're well worth the wait. You look at Control, Quantum Break. I'm pretty sure Alan Wake 2 is going to be another one. I'm really curious to see how their take on like a first-person shooter story is going to turn out. Like, considering there's no campaign with Battlefield, this might be a nice fill-in for those that you know aren't as much into the multiplayer aspect of certain games. And considering I haven't heard any positive things about the Vanguard campaign, this might be a nice fill-in, at least for the time being, as far as like a campaign first-person shooter that's like a boots on the ground style, even though it's somewhat future soldier stuff. But yeah, this will be a nice fit. But the camp or the multiplayer, fingers crossed it gets fixed. Hopefully it becomes a nice alternative to Insurgency Sandstorm.
Yeah.
But I just have my doubts. I if they go the CS:GO route completely, then it'll definitely have some legs here. But if they leave it as is, where you run twice as fast with a knife, yeah, that campaign is going to be about the bright spark for me for that game.
Yeah, when they announced that originally, like, and they made a really big deal about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, this team, this game that was in, I think it was in Korea, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was very successful, doing well for a long time. It's finally coming to the States, and it was gonna be on Xbox and all this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool, but I don't know what it is. Never heard of it. And then we got the multiplayer beta, and I think with the like ultra poor reception of that from this crowd and audience here, like kind of
Mm-hmm.
put things on the back burner. Maybe they had to rework stuff for the for the Western audience potentially. I don't know, like it just seemed off. But however, having like Remedy knows what they're doing. So like we said, Remedy never has that I can think of has put out a bad game. So we'll see what they do with that campaign. I think there's enough there that it could be pretty cool. Because that trailer they showed a lot of gameplay. And it looked pretty good, right, for the campaign.
Yeah.
So now what I want to ask the tough question here, guys. Because we got other stuff to talk about. So out of all of these things here, you have PlayStation show up strong with Horizon Forbidden West. You have a lot of multi-plats coming to PlayStation as well. You also have indie games show up as well that are coming to different platforms and stuff. Between PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, who do you think at the end of the night came out with the most positive attention? Right? I'm not gonna say win because I don't like that, especially like at an awards show, because like all these games are great, right? But like one of the things about this is when you're marketing from one of these companies, right, Xbox or PlayStation, Nintendo, whoever, you're trying to like draw people to your platform, right? That's the point of sponsoring a show like this, and also having your trailers and all these things there. Like out of everybody there, who do you think came away with people being like, maybe I need to think about getting one of those, right? One of those systems. We'll start with you, Key. Like,
okay, so for me, I would definitely have to say, just slightly gave it an edge for me would definitely be the PlayStation.
Okay.
And only reason I feel that is because, like, don't get me wrong. Hellblade, like I said, that went from like top 10 to like my top 5 or 3 instantly. And Horizon is not in my top 3. So
right.
I just want to put that out there. But the reason I say that is because what's that game?
Forspoken.
Yeah.
Forspoken.
That looked great. Yeah.
Yes, like ever since I seen that trailer, even from E3 when they first announced it and everything, it's like it kind of been on my radar. And now actually seeing it like full blown, seeing more gameplay and different type of magic or whatever's going on there. And oh my goodness, I fell in love with it. Just I can see it right now, just how the colors pop and everything, and some of the enemies you'll be fighting, a different intake on games, and that's what I look forward to. Like I like games like that that's different, and there's not a lot of it out there that's similar to it. So that's why I said for me, just because of that game alone, it would be PlayStation. Now if that wasn't there, oh yeah, definitely Xbox. Like I said, just because of Hellblade alone. But yeah, that caught my attention. That caught my radar. And I'm definitely excited for that one. That did say it was coming out next year as well, right? Didn't it say 2022?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's another strong one, man. It's one that I keep forgetting about,
Yeah,
but they keep showing it, and they're really confident in it because they keep showing it. I keep forgetting
Yeah.
about it,
right.
right? Yeah, I don't know why I keep
It
forgetting
just
about
looks
it, but
super
man, yeah,
good.
they jumped off again. I think it got lost in the shuffle for me with all these other things, right? Um,
Mhm.
I mean,
but
yeah, 'cause there
yeah, it
was a
looked
lot.
great.
There was a lot going on. Like, you know, I mean, Saint Row look like it's getting positive reviews now.
Mhm.
Since you know, since they originally announced it. Um, you know, you got a release date on Tiny Tina, so the Borderland people out there got their release date. I mean, there was a lot going on, you know, Elder Ring, you know, cinematic trailer, things like that, you know, Matrix, so forth and so forth, you know. But oh yeah, GTFO, right?
Yeah.
GTFO,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was
you
like an
know,
immediate release on Steam.
yeah, so now they're getting a full game finally, which it took forever to get it done, but that's something else. So, like you said, a lot happened during the games awards, but yeah, just to answer your question, I would have to say PlayStation.
Okay, fair enough, man. I mean, that's you make a good valid point there too. So, Fuzzy, what about you, man? Like, who came away with you think the most positive attention after the Game Awards?
PCMR. No, I'm just kidding. Because in many cases, a lot of these will
Yeah,
be on PC in one way, shape, or form. But
yeah, a lot. There was a lot that we were like, oh, that looks really cool, and then it's like PC game
PC only.
preview, PC only, and it's like, oh
Mhm.
man,
No, but in the grand scheme of things, for things that caught my attention, I would say I'm leaning more towards Xbox. Hellblade 2 definitely uh put a I would say the 50% of my decision is based solely on just that game alone.
yeah,
Um Crossfire X campaign that now we finally have something coming. I think like the pre-show they talked about the Nobody Saves the World. Like the demo I know is on like the ID at Xbox thing right now.
hmm
And it's one of those like indie games that looks like it's going to be a ton of fun where you kind of change forms and can attack enemies all kinds of different ways. Like you can turn into a rat and bite all the enemies type of deal. But there's a lot of like smaller games that are coming to Xbox that really, you know, I'll just be honest. A lot of these indie games over the past year and a half have just been mainly what I've been playing
yeah,
until more recently. So that's the main reason why I'm leaning more towards Xbox because you had another update for Somerville, which is like kind of like that.
yeah, those looked great too.
Like aliens take over the planet, but
hmm
you and your family fall asleep in front of the TV, and now you got to kind of escape or something. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Was it Planet of Lana? I think they showed a little bit more of
hmm
that in the pre-show as well,
Yep.
and I think that's another one that's just coming to Xbox and PC as well. So I give it to Xbox. They have a good lineup coming for the indies, and their first party really showed up. I was hoping for some more from the first party. Like they could have really killed it if they, showed Compulsion's project and
Yeah.
maybe another project, but Hellblade,
Mhm.
I think that was enough to catch a lot of people's attention. So it was good to see some gameplay on that. And I wish they put a year at the end of it, but
Yeah. That
if
tells me I
everything,
think it's 2023 or
yeah,
later.
hopefully early 2023. But I was amazed that they like considering they just had their new studio built less than 6 months ago. I'm kind of surprised they had this much in the tank to be able to do a gameplay
Yeah.
preview type of thing.
Well, he
So
said they put that together like over the weekend or the last week or something like that. I can't remember what he said,
wow.
but like that was
Wow,
crazy.
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Unless he said it like when he was announcing the trailer, he's like they put it together like over the weekend, and
Mhm.
I can't believe this is real gameplay that I saw, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. He asked, it seemed genuinely excited.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was crazy to me, man. So there was a lot of like announcements. Like when I said we think things got lost. So I'm gonna go
Mhm.
through a short little list Okay, these are just the game reveals. Okay, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game.
Yeah.
Homeworld 3.
Yeah.
The Expanse Telltale game.
Yeah.
Chivalry 2 House Aberfell, which is I think an expansion or DLC for that. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak, so that's the Switch thing. Thirsty Suitors, shout out to Jasper who keeps wanting to talk about Thirsty Suitors. Have a Nice Death, that game looked good.
Yeah.
It looked really good.
Yes, that was another game that caught my attention immediately.
Yeah. Persona, this was at the end of the preview show. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. I can't believe this is happening. And I was like, oh my gosh, is Persona finally coming to Xbox? And it was like, nope. Coming to Switch, you know? That was like, I don't know. That was like building up false hope, I think, with that like end of the preview show, big reveal thing they did. But anyway, it didn't seem like it ended up being that big a deal. However, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax coming to PC, PS4, Steam, and Switch. Wonder Woman got announced. Alan Wake 2, Star Wars Eclipse. Man, I am pumped for Star Wars Eclipse. Let me tell you, Quantic Dream. Yeah. Holy crap. Final Fantasy VII Remake for PC. Yeah, go ahead.
Right quick, because I knew the Star Wars games in the works or whatnot, but is they setting this up to be like a I don't want to say open world, but like jumping from planet to planet type deal, doing stuff? Like, doesn't it give off that vibe?
It gives off the vibe to me like it's going to be another Quantic Dream game, which is like very narrative focused, but potentially you're going to be going from place to place, but more of like just selecting things from a menu screen, transported there into a smaller area, dialogue, stuff like that. That's kind of what I could picture, because that's kind of how they do their games. You know what I mean? You're not like sitting there going wherever the hell you want, doing whatever you want, but they kind of isolate, certain sections, certain areas for you to kind of follow with specific things you got to do, right? And if it's anything like Detroit Become Human or Heavy Rain, like in the Star Wars universe, which another thing, Quantic Dream is very serious toned with their games, right? So this is exciting a lot of old school Star Wars fans, because it takes place like in the High Republic, I think. So it's going to be some interesting stuff here, man. Let's see. All right. So after Star Wars Eclipse, we got Final Fantasy VII Remake coming to PC. That was an announcement we were just waiting to see happen, and it did. Destiny 2 Witch Queen got a trailer, I guess. It says reveal, but we already knew that existed. So Slitterhead is the game we talked about. Here's one that I keep forgetting about, Nightingale, which looked awesome. Another one of those PC only things right now, though, right? I thought when they started showing that was possibly Compulsion's game, because it kind of matched some of the aspects that was leaked about it, right? And I was like, okay, maybe they got some things right, and maybe there's more to it. And also the character models kind of had that like We Happy Few vibe a little bit. But Nightingale looks awesome. I think it's could potentially do well, and if it does, maybe make its way over to console as well. So there's everybody's most excited thing right here. You ready? Beat Saber Lady Gaga. Let's go. There's we finally got a date for Cuphead, The Delicious Last Course. That was a reveal. Here's one that jumped out that, again, keep forgetting about. Sonic Frontiers. We're getting that open world Sonic, big AAA type Sonic game that everybody keeps asking for. And that seems like that's happening. And nobody's talking about it, because like we all keep begging for this. And it's like, and they just revealed it, and what they showed looked like what they're calling open zone. So it's like, I think you're going to choose a level, and it's going to be like a big open environment that you have to clear, right? That's what I'm thinking it's going to be. It looks really cool, though. Surprise game was Warhammer Space Marine 2. Pong is really excited about that one. And there was Dune Spice Wars. That's the new RTS. There's Among Us VR, which is just weird to me. Star Trek Resurgence. This is made by ex-Telltale devs that started a new studio, and their first project is this Star Trek game. Star Trek Resurgence looks pretty awesome. Rumbleverse, made by Iron Galaxy and published by Epic. Looks like another foray into the battle royale genre potentially for Epic. So that's going to be a thing. It's like melee rumble focused. We got the Halo TV series and trailer reveal, and then we got Arc Raiders. So those are just like reveals. That's pretty crazy, right? So yeah, they did I mean, some of these, like obviously the Halo TV series we already knew about, but you know, like
Right.
So I don't know why that's in this list. They need to work on their list a bit, but pretty good stuff. So that being said, all of this together, yeah, I think out of the, I'll say like fuzzy, like PC gaming probably actually won this whole thing, right? But as far as like positive attention goes, I think that just the Hellblade 2 trailer alone was so mind blowing that it's just what everybody's talking about. And even to the talking point of the people that are talking about Horizon Forbidden West are trying to make a case that it looked better than Hellblade 2, not talking about how amazing Horizon Forbidden West looked. It's like Hellblade 2 has gotten ingrained in their brain now, right? So it made a huge impact, I think. And they kicked off the show with that. The part of the detriment of that, kicking off the show with that, followed by Star Wars, is everything else afterwards, like, has to live up to those. And it's like, I don't know if like that was a mistake having both of those at the very beginning. Personally, I would have held Hellblade 2 to the end. Xbox didn't bring a lot of first party stuff here. They just brought that, right?
Yeah.
But they did have like the Pete Hines thing, you know, that was like hilarious. They had the Game Pass PC switching to PC Game Pass thing, which is also really good. Their marketing team did a great job. The codes, they gave away tons of codes, and just Hellblade 2 alone, I think, made enough of an impact to answer a lot of questions from a lot of people that were like, yeah, but they don't have this game. They don't have that type of game. They don't have this game. They don't have that type of game. This is that game that everybody's been asking for. And they just came out with proof. Check mark, right? Like, they got it. And so I think a lot of people potentially that like those third person action story based walking simulator type games, right, are going to really enjoy what they put together with Hellblade 2. So I think that alone is like a huge win for Xbox. So as far as attention goes, I think they got the most attention. But at the end of the day, who won here? Like, there's no winners except for the gamers, right? Like, so many,
True.
Yeah.
so much, guys. This is insane. It's insane that the investment going into gaming from all these major publishers, absolutely bananas. Then all these, you know, I don't want to like, though, to me, like, the awards don't really mean much because like they lack credibility because of when they do them, right? But as far as like everybody who won, like, congrats to those, because I know it's important to them, and it's important for the mind share aspect as well. And we had a lot of people bring home some big awards. Then I think it seemed like Deathloop did really well, right? And also Forza Horizon 5 got picked up something. Then you had
Age of Empires.
Age of Empires picked up something. Then you had Game of the Year was It Takes Two, which is currently on Game Pass as well, right? I think Game Pass had like so much stuff like in the awards that was pretty crazy, you know? Either that we know is in Game Pass now or is coming to Game Pass. So even just those nominees, man, is like so much like Xbox attention here at this show. So mind share wise, I think they made an impact, which was very successful for them. So, but man, yeah, I agree with Key though. Like if you add that Forspoken game in there, it makes it a little. It makes it harder. One game I forgot to mention though, and this is coming out to everything. It kind of like one of the games that impressed me the most. It kind of captured my heart here, and I was not expecting it. Was Tiny Tina's.
Mm-hmm.
That game, like, wow, that was looking gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's 100% on my radar now, and it wasn't before.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I like
Are you a fan of
Borderlands.
Borderlands?
I like Borderlands, but like, I'm
Yeah.
not like, oh, I love it, and it was. I knew it was gonna be $70, you know. So I was like, I never played the
Well,
original
I
Tiny
like her,
Tina's
so
expansion, right? So
yeah.
I just it just was like, okay, yeah, cool, a new Borderlands spinoff. But man, this trailer, dude, like the way that the art looks on the characters, and like, yeah, I don't know, man. I'm like, I think I'm gonna be into this. So I'm waiting for that game to come out now, which is again not too far away, right? I think it's like pretty early 2022.
yeah.
Wasn't that May?
May,
Didn't they
yeah,
say
I
May?
think so.
Oh, March, yeah, May. Yeah. But let me say this right quick before we move away from this topic. And check, I want you guys to jump in as well, you know, and because I'm curious to know whether this was just me or not. But looking at all the trailers, like I said, I didn't watch the entire award show. Like I did watch a little bit before I passed out. But I seen all the trailers just about. To me, I feel like there wasn't a jaw-dropping moment, you know, as far as like a new game or whatnot. Like I feel like over the years, even when they close it out, they have that one game that just, oh my goodness, who, you know, like you jumping up out your chair almost, or excitement. I feel like this year, I feel like we didn't get that this year, which was, I don't want to say a letdown, but it was just kind of weird to me.
Yeah. Well, I
Like,
think
what do you
they
guys
started.
think?
I think they started out the show with those jaw droppers, right? And
Mhm.
then the rest of the show kind of fell short of that. But I had 3 moments, right? Or 4. I had 4 jaw droppers.
Okay.
Hellblade 2 was the biggest by far. Like that's like the most
Right.
impressive graphic single player type game I've ever seen. Right? I just like absolutely insane. If you go back and watch that in 4K and all this stuff, I mean, just mind blowing. And me and Pong was like in shock when we were streaming that. It was like, we're like, what? Like it's impossible. That was a jaw dropper number 1. And number 2 was the Star Wars game, Eclipse,
Right.
because of the theme of it. It is so not fitting in with all the other Star Wars stuff that's been coming out. That's more like advertised towards kids, and kind of like this is like more mature take on Star Wars with their vision, and it looks like it's going to be a serious game and really dive into like some great stories within the Star Wars universe. And I can't wait to find out what story they're telling, you know. But man, that really got me hyped. And then shortly after, you have number 3. Now this one was a jaw dropper because of who's making it. We didn't get to see much at all. We just got to see the character model. But Wonder Woman coming to next gen consoles made by Monolith. Now, the jaw dropping thing there is not, there's a Wonder Woman game. It's a Wonder Woman game made by Monolith. Right? So that's what had me like, what? Monolith is making this game now? Like a Wonder Woman game? Holy crap. So, because Monolith's no joke. I mean, you look at the Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, right? And what they crafted with those, and that you're thinking, okay, how long they've been working on this? Is this just the first teaser? We're going to see a bigger reveal next year. Who knows exactly what? But knowing that Monolith is attached to this and is been developing this Wonder Woman game is like, it's like a potential huge massive hit. I have to say, because remember what they did with the Lord of the Rings games. People weren't expecting those to be as good as they were, and then they came out and it was like, wow, that was a lot of people's game of the year, you know.
Yeah.
So I think I think Wonder Woman made by Monolith is a huge deal. And then the fourth one was Arc Raiders. They showed a lot of gameplay for a brand new game reveal from a brand new studio, from a publisher that not a lot of people are aware of, that's growing and making strides, which showed up pretty strong at this award show as well. But with that music, that theme, the gameplay they showed, and everything, man, that game is just like a complete it's looking like it's going to be a complete package, right? The graphically looks great, gameplay looks great. What you're going to be doing, the music is great. Like it all just seems like it's coming together, man. So that one was another like jaw dropper. But I think I know what you're saying. Like the first time people saw God of War, you know, the first time that people see a game, because we've seen Hellblade before, you know. So you were looking for that like new game announcement that nobody's ever heard of, and they show something that's just gonna freaking blow their minds, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess you could say that because, and you know, don't get me wrong, like everything you said is 100% correct. Like those are the games I think everybody was talking about. But of course, the number one game was Hellblade. But we already knew about Hellblade, you know, and I guess, and even today, it was just more of a shocker to see Hellblade there, because it wasn't at E3 or whatnot, or any of the Xbox events. So it was just kind of a shocker to see there. I think so, but yeah, Hellblade is definitely on everybody's radar. Period. Whether you're a Hellblade person or not, fan, Ninja 30 fan, whatever, like it's on your radar as of now. Period.
Yep.
But yeah, to me, it was just like, man, I just was like, the show was good. I'm not saying it was bad. You know, it's definitely I rated probably an 8. You know, but it's like over the years, man, it's like, wow, they really brought that game back, or they really making this game, or this is what people ask for. You know, like that one moment where you like jumping out your chair, like, oh my goodness, like I didn't get that this year. I just didn't.
I've heard other people say the same thing, you know, so I can't really blame you there. Maybe it was just sort of, you think it was like too much in a way?
Maybe because, you know, just you read the list and man, all the games you named, I mean, all of them is like just something to be looking forward to in the next couple months. You know, 6 months, half of them for the most part.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm reading the chat, you know, and I'm just seeing what people are saying, you know, and, you know, Suicide Squad, Crossfire, things like that. Like, absolutely. Especially Suicide Squad.
I know what it is, Key. I think I know what it is.
Talk to me.
I think it's that none of the first party studios, none of the Xbox, none of the PlayStation, none of the Nintendo announced one major brand new game at this show. Like they didn't.
That might be it.
I think that's it. Because that's the thing that gets people jumping up off the floor is those first party exclusives, right? And we already knew about what we've seen from them. We already knew about. You know what I mean? We just saw updated looks at them. So maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I would have been extremely excited to see what Ben Studios is working on, since they're not doing a Days Gone, whatever that new IP is. I'm really curious to see what that's going to be, or the studio that they're partnered with Jade Raymond.
Yeah.
Haven Studio. Definitely looking forward to hearing something about that, hopefully soon. And was really hoping for Compulsion, their project, to be unveiled. but I something tells me we're gonna get something before the year is over with.
You think so? Like another little like update or reveal of something?
Well, there's supposed to be some sort of like Xbox Fan Fest thing, although those typically aren't that big of a unveiling. It's usually more so answer some gaming questions and get discounts on gear. But I don't know, I just feel both of them want to do something before the year is out. I figured, with the holidays and everything, even though these consoles are still hard to come by, they're still going to want to, push people into, if they can, get one under the tree and be ready for the upcoming year. But yeah, I just get this feeling that both parties, at least on the PlayStation and Xbox side, are holding their cards back a bit, waiting for the first one to flinch. And Nintendo's like, we're not worried. People will buy it anyway. So, but
Nintendo.
Yeah. I mean, this show definitely did enough for me. Like, I rated it a 9 out of 10. Personally, I like. There's just so much stuff to be excited about. And there was a lot of new game reveals, and also there was a lot of good updated trailers. So, I mean, as far as like, we didn't get that like first party new game announcements like that happens at E3, and I think that's like what it is for the people like that. It just didn't, for something that they felt like that was something missing, and I honestly expected that from Xbox going into this. I mean, I'm on record as saying that on the show. I thought they were going to have probably 2 or 3 first party games here because of how big the show is, right? The show is like one of the biggest shows in gaming, and it is going to attract a big audience that is not necessarily only Xbox fans, right? Because you got people watching for their PlayStation games, you got people watching for the PC games, you got people watching for their Nintendo games, you got all this. So if you want to draw in like new audiences that aren't already on your platform, then this is the best place to potentially do that, right? So I thought like, maybe they would have 3. Yeah. But they only had 1. They only showed Hellblade. But it made such a big impact that it's like, it's still like, I don't know, man. The cool thing was there was so much multi-plat stuff shown that it's going to be on all platforms. So for me, like, I don't really care too much about exclusives, other than I think they're help sell the brand a lot. But for me, it doesn't affect me if somebody can play my game. You know what I mean? So, but there was great multi-plat stuff that showed up here that's going to be on all platforms day one. And those game announcements were freaking epic. I'm really curious about the Quantic Dream game, because usually Quantic Dream has been heavily associated with PlayStation. But I felt like if this was a PlayStation thing, they would have made that loud and clear.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like they didn't say platforms on purpose for the sake of like some reason, like, because they didn't say what platform's coming out. If this was a PlayStation exclusive, they would have said. And I think it's not, because like what Pong had said when we're streaming is it's a licensed IP. It's a Star Wars thing. It's Star Wars. Maybe they don't want it to be exclusive, right? So, potential there. Who knows? It'd be interesting. All right. So besides that, guys, we also had another big thing happen the day before the Game Awards. And that was new. This game came out. I don't know if anybody's heard of it. It's a sequel to like a game that used to be popular back in the day. God, what's the name of it again? Oh yeah, Halo. Yeah, it's called Halo. Halo Infinite, I think, is what it is. Yeah, and it follows like some like space guy in a green suit or whatever, and he goes around and like kills aliens or some shit like that. I don't know, but like I guess it's a big deal to people. I see people tweeting about it, saying how cool it is, and I see people complaining about stuff. I see great reviews out there and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know, Fuzzy. Have you had a chance to check out this what was it called? Halo game? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that space first person shooter. Yeah. No, this game is so much fun. Like we've been, spoiled and treated to the the multiplayer for this past month and the earlier flights and stuff, and now we get to dig into the story aspect, the campaign. And yes, it doesn't have co-op, which that kind of sucks, but you know what, as much fun as I'm having right now, I'm fine with it not having the co-op while I'm learning how to not fall off the ring or basically grapple to the enemies and knock their helmet off their head or kill them type of thing. So it's just so much fun just rescuing the Marines, getting the Spartan cores. Just oh man, like once again, I'm new to Halo. Halo 5 was my first Halo, so
Yeah.
this is so much more fun. And I think I've only done like maybe 2 or 3 stages in the story. I'm just doing a lot of the side stuff, just having a ball. So yeah, this was well worth the wait. The 1 year delay, I'm pretty sure that made for this being so much more smoother and more fun and problem free, and finding little hidden secrets, and like rest spots and stuff like that, or like an arcade that I found on the map and stuff. So yeah, there's just so much, and it's like that open world, but you're not overwhelmed with collectibles, which is the best part about it. There are a lot of things to do, but it's within reason, because you're going to want to rescue the Marines so you have backup in some cases. You're going to want to, convert the bases and things like that so you have fast travel points and things. And it's just so much fun doing those missions, and then listening to some of the stuff that the brutes say when you kill them and whatnot. Like I've been watching other people's clips and some of the stuff that I've had, and it's like after you kill a few of them, some of them start running or some of them start hiding and stuff. So it's like it just the interaction with the AI. It just this is
It's Halo, man. That's what it is.
Yeah. I'm now I understand. Like I said many moons ago, it's like when I was just on PlayStation, I always wondered what are these guys lined up for, a midnight release? This isn't Grand Theft Auto. Now that's definitely seems silly looking back at that. So but it is so much fun. Like I've put it down briefly because there's a couple other games that I was hooked on prior that I just want to at least see the update, but I plan on getting back to it a little bit later on today and tomorrow. So I want to get this campaign, under my belt, and start trying to see if I can find some skulls and whatnot. But man, it is so much fun just going through the world and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm glad you're into it, man. Like I mean, obviously, guys, I was kidding. I know what Halo is, right? It's my favorite game franchise of all time, hands down. So when a Halo game releases, it is like, it gives you those fuzzy feels, those warm and fuzzies. It gives you those chills and stuff, the anticipation, and like it's almost like when you're playing it, you're in this like surreal disbelief that you're playing a new Halo game, right? Like that's how it feels. Like it's almost like if you're like, let's say you're like a lifelong like sports fan of a team, right? And you've been you've been a fan of theirs for like 30 years or whatever, and they finally get to the championship game and you get to watch it for the first moment. It's like there's certain feelings you can get sometimes when you're like a really big fan of something or really into a certain kind of entertainment or whatever. For some people, it's like when a new Star Wars movie is released, right? Or when, there's only certain types of games, I think, and certain types of movies and certain things that happen in entertainment that capture this feeling. And for me, it's 100%. Nothing comes close to when a new Halo game comes out, right? So fortunately I haven't had enough time because it's been an absolute crazy week to put as many hours into it as I want. So I'm about like 4.5 hours in right now so far. At Key, I know you're in the same boat, man. Like you probably haven't even been able to play it yet. Have you had a chance to play it at all? Key stepped away. Are you on mute?
Hey, can you hear me? Sorry about that.
Yeah, I can hear
swap
you.
out my headphones.
Oh, no problem, man.
Yeah, no, like I remember coming home, downloading the game.
Yeah.
And that's all I remember. Like I remember my wife walking up to me, waking me up. I was in a chair asleep. Like
yeah.
at my desk, like, no, like I won't be able to play it. Like I just could not fight through it to play it. But a buddy of mine, I did. Yeah, it sucks. But I'm off for like the next 2 or 3 days, so I'm definitely gonna play it. But I was talking to a buddy of mine saying, he was excited for it. He was saying, just how it looks and they like the direction that it was going into and everything. And just he was naming off a few little details, but for the most part, I'm excited to play still. Just looking at, of course, the trailer. I did watch a few clips here and there. Like Fuzzy was saying, that year they took off to just redo, the visual parts. Definitely paid off. Definitely paid off.
Yeah.
So again, I'm excited for it. I can't wait to play it. Probably gonna play it tonight, start on it tonight. But I mean, I really don't have much to say about it because I haven't played it.
No, that's fair, man. You've been working like crazy long hours. So
which is funny because, and I could tell you was busy because I thought by now you would have been like, I completed it.
Oh, dude, normally, like, I'd be like that night or the next day, like,
yeah.
It's just like there's so much stuff going on this week. I just actually couldn't do it, So, it's been killing me because I love it so much, right? Like, it's a lot of people focus on the things that it doesn't have, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've never done that with games. For me, I always focus on the thing of what is presented to me, right? Because you can go and dig deep into so many of the best games of all time and find content that was cut for this reason or that reason, issues with development at this time, right? There's never been one of these massive, huge games like this that has just had, this is just complete smooth sailing all the way through, no hurdles, and everything. It was just like the easiest game we've ever made, and it's especially with Halo games, right? Every Halo game has been through the ringer, right, with different things. The original time they ever showed Halo in a demo form in the public, it got trashed big time. It was like they were like, "Oh, what do we do?" They went and they tried to fix a bunch of stuff. Does that sound familiar, right? Halo 2. What most Halo fans that date back to the beginning, most Halo fans would say either Halo 2 or Halo 3 is their favorite, right? For either multiplayer or single player reasons, but Halo 2 for me is that answer. Okay. Halo 2, they pretty much had to start from scratch a year before it came out. It got delayed. They had massive issues. They had something happen with their like files or something like that. I can't remember the story. There's a whole documentary about it. These things have happened, right? Halo 3, I think, is maybe the one that had the least like issues potentially with, right, through development. But man, it's like you go through and you see all these things and people are like, hey, but it doesn't have this, but it doesn't have that, and which is fair because we all have expectations, especially when it comes to franchises that we love and have been loving for 20 years, right? But when a game like this is trying to do something more than it's ever done before, right, and it actually achieves that with changing the formula, building a new engine, switching the multiplayer to allow more people to play and keep it alive for a lot longer, separating it out to where you don't necessarily have to have a new multiplayer every time that more single player content comes out. There's doing interesting things that a lot of times we've all been like, hey, why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? And like saying that my dream game would be like, what if Halo was like open world and you could do this and you could like just take a Banshee or you could take a Wasp, you could do this or that and fly anywhere you want to. Well, wow, that'd be amazing. They made that, right? They made this game that we've been dreaming of for Halo fans for a long time. And while somehow,
I do have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Because maybe you're about to answer it, but I do have a question.
Yeah, I was gonna say somehow they still, with this whole formula sandbox thing that they got going on, still put great story elements in there and really like it still feels like Halo, right? Down to the gameplay core, down to like the sequences, down to that intro, down to like the weapon talking to you like Cortana does, right? Down to all of these things, it manages to still feel like classic Halo, and how they did all this and came together with where they were. No, we all know where they were, and more reports have come out where they were in a year's time. I am super happy with what they shipped, but I'm even more excited for the future of this game. So that's dude, it's gonna be amazing. All right, go ahead, Key.
Okay, so again, I haven't touched it yet, so I can't really get what he was telling me as far as this goes. But buddy of mine that played it or whatever, he did tell me like going from multiplayer to single player, it kind of feels like a different game.
No, I didn't get that at all.
What do that mean?
Well,
yeah.
Well, one's open world
like,
single player game, and the other one's multiplayer. You know what I mean? But like
yeah,
the movement and everything feels the same to me.
Yeah, see, he was talking about it just feel to him it felt a little off. Like it didn't feel like, like you said, a lot of times when it's multiplayer versus multiplayer and single player, like the movements and the gunplay, things like that are generally the same.
I'll say that some of the
but
guns come across and feel better in single player because you're shooting against like grunts and brutes and stuff like that instead of real players. So like the commando is like night and day better, I think, in the single player than in the multiplayer. Aspects like that, but like that's for me, it's always to be expected. There's like a little nuances of difference, right? Because of just the inherent difference of you're shooting against real people controlling characters as opposed to like more of a sandbox environment, going and approaching things how you want. But like, as far as the movement and stuff goes, I honestly don't know if I really felt a difference. Did you, Fuzzy, at all?
No, I think I was trying to figure out if it might be just that he hasn't leveled up some of like the armor and stuff like that, possibly. But that's about the only thing I would say is that, there are upgrades for some of the gear, but movement, time to kill. I mean, time to kill aside from AI not moving quite like humans. That would be about the only real difference, I think. Everything else pretty much, traversing through the map, using the grapple shot, that all feels pretty much spot on between single and multiplayer. So.
Yeah, I mean, controls wise is the only thing you can compare because obviously one is a story, and you got all these other things going on, and you're doing different stuff. You're going up mountains, and the verticality is amazing in this, which is different than the multiplayer where you have limited verticality, right? Because you're playing on a map that you got to play multiplayer with, right? I mean, this is like, as far as me controlling my character, he moves and feels exactly the same way to me, right?
Yeah, see, I didn't get that when he said it because it was like, and he was in full sentences, just going, full paragraphs, just paragraph after paragraph. Like he pointed out the things he liked, pointing out the things he didn't like, and it was like a whole paragraph with each one. But when he mentioned that was the one thing that caught my attention. Like, what you mean it feels different from multiplayer? Like, how is that possible or whatnot? Like, how movements? Like, he didn't go off into depth with it like that.
I think maybe it's just the feeling that the game gives him, potentially, right?
Yeah.
Because it is a different experience for sure.
Yeah.
Like it's I mean, I think I would say that maybe people, and I don't know his history, but like people that are diving into Halo for the first time with this game, may play the multiplayer and get a certain expectation and think that the single player are going to be going through levels and shooting enemies like that and just go level after level after level, which is sort of kind of what Halo was before, but not really. It was still more sandboxy, and open. I think maybe just don't know what to expect. You know what I mean? And then being surprised, like, wow, this is way different than I thought that it would be. That could be a thing. Yeah, I would say, like,
The only
guns.
caveat I would
That
say
thing feels
is,
more powerful.
yeah, I was about to say the only caveat I would add is that, and it's mainly because I'll admit I suck at the multiplayer, so I feel more like a badass in the single player than I do in the multiplayer. Like a lot of times, I'm good at assist kills, but not the best at kill streaks or anything like that. But in the single player, I mean, it's AI. Yes, they seem to be a lot smarter AI than a lot of other first person shooter campaign type games, but yeah, I definitely feel more of like a badass on like I'm not doing legendary. I'm doing what's the step up from normal?
Heroic.
Yeah, so
that's what I play on. It's still a challenge, especially when you come across some of these bosses and stuff. For sure. I think you'll enjoy it, Key. Like a lot of people like will focus on certain aspects and like you really this is wrong and I'm gonna focus on that, right? So like I used this example before. Like that's a weird beep. All right, see this water?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's fine. This water's like 90% full, right? So you can talk about how great and fresh and perfect this water is, right? Or you can focus on 10% that's empty. Be like, man, somebody gypped me on this fucking water. Like, where the hell is that 10% of this water? Like, is it going to quench my thirst enough now because I don't have 10% of my water? What the hell happened, Ozarka? Come on. Like,
yeah.
It's like a thing, you can ultra focus on certain things, but if you just like forget everything you don't know. Let's say you went into this game, this was the first time you ever have even heard of Halo. You didn't know about the development stuff. You didn't know about this or that. You're just diving in. Okay, hey, I'm going to check out this Halo game that nobody's ever told me about before and I'm oblivious to somehow because I'm not a human being. I'm going to go check it out. You play it. What experience are you getting? Is it a complete experience? Does it feel rewarding? Does it feel fulfilling? Is the gameplay good? Is the sound design good? Is the level design good? Is the world that they built good? Are the characters good? Is the voice acting good? Every box that of these things that I've just listed that make a game a great game, the answer is yes. Right? And yes, there's missing co-op, which sucks because this game I'm gonna love playing co-op. After playing it here, this open world design, I'm gonna have more fun with co-op in this Halo than any I've ever played before, for sure. But it's coming. It'll be here, right? It sucks it's not here now. Am I thinking about that when I'm playing? No, I'm sucked in. So I mean, dude, I was rolling around in a tank earlier on my stream. I was like, I just cleared out the space and I got a tank. I was like, okay, I could go faster and take the easy way and go ahead and just grapple shot my way over to my next objectives. I'm like, nah, F that. I'm going to take the tank and it's going to be slow as hell, but I'm going to blow a lot of shit up on my way. Right. And that was a choice that I got to make in this Halo game that I've never gotten to make before, So I did it, and I went through, and I just took my tank all the way to the next place, and just blew up a bunch of shit on my way, and it was amazing. Dude, there's like so much to love about this, and again, this is just the start, right? That's another thing that's different from this Halo than every other Halo before. This is the beginning of our journey with Halo Infinite. So, yes, do we want them to have had everything in there at launch? It would have been great. It would have been amazing. Now, is there enough there right now? Yes. Are we now going to be more excited for the things to come? I would say yes, right? And I think what they're going to do with this game now over the next decade is going to be one of the most played games of this generation by far, right? So, props to them on what they built, man. I got to give them credit instead of focus on the negative of their failings, because they pulled it together. They did. They built a good engine. They built a great Halo game. and I'm having a blast with it. Stuff's missing. It sucks. It will be there eventually. And it tastes good. Refreshing.
Good deal.
So
it just kind of reminds me that I mentioned this earlier in chat. I think some people have forgotten how to have fun. And I remember when Guardians of the Galaxy came out and everybody was like, oh, it looks great, it plays great. And then I think Digital Foundry was like, oh, it's 1080p. And people were like, what? 1080p? Oh, this is crap. It's like, wait, you were just enjoying the game 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
Now you found it's 1080p and it's all of a sudden crap. Really?
Yeah, nobody noticed until they told them.
Exactly.
Word of mouth, man. Word of mouth is powerful.
Yeah.
So people all the time. Word of mouth is so powerful. It's dangerous in some cases, you know.
Yeah, it can kill games, man. It can kill studios. It can kill games.
Yeah.
It can kill things. You know, like that's why I just like. So people run away with certain narratives. You know, certain talking points, and sometimes it's justifiably so, right? And then a lot of times it's over silly stuff that doesn't matter, but they turn it into really huge things. You know, Battlefield's going through some of that right now, and a lot of it's warranted, and a lot of it's not. You know, is the game going to suffer because of this even more than it would have in like if let's say, okay, I'm going to give you two circumstances, two worlds that we live in. Okay, here's one. The game comes out, everybody trashes it, even people that haven't played it, and it deters people from playing the game. Okay, and that's their way to get the devs to fix things, is they're trying to put pressure by, hey, nobody play this trash, blah 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 blah. Okay, and then I'm gonna present you with another world where they release the game and it's missing things, but it's ultra successful and everybody talks about the things that they love about it and bring people into the game, right? Which game do you think is going to get more support down the line? The one that nobody's playing, or the one that a lot of people are playing?
One that a lot of people are playing.
So
clearly.
This word of mouth thing, like definitely you got to have some like, hey, I don't like this, you know, this needs work. Why is this missing? Hey, come on, you know, fix this, whatever. Put your things out there. Be specific, right? Shout out to Jasper, our friend Jasper, because one thing, like he can be like I call him Jasper the realist, right? Because when he does like do that, like he'll like nitpick things, right? And he'll say that, but he's always with a specific example of something. Okay, well, I don't like this because it's like this, right? Instead of just like, this game's trash, this is blah, blah, garbage, this is ridiculous, you know. So it's like, pick your things and be specific about what you want to see fixed. Because if you're just like out there shouting and sending death threats to devs and like you're doing all this crazy stuff and you're deterring so many people from playing, guess what? That game that you used to love, that you're so upset about right now, even though you're playing it every day, probably for 10 hours, right? These people that are screaming, the game that you're so upset about right now is not, there's a potential you could kill the thing that you love, right? It's like it's like emotional abuse towards a video game in a way. Now, I'm not saying don't be negative and don't criticize when it's justified, but like people don't understand like the amount of an effect this much noise can cause, right? With social media and all that kind of stuff. So just putting it out there.
We just went through it with Halo, you know.
Yeah.
That's your example. We just went through it with Halo. You know, people didn't like the trailer and, you know, the gameplay trailer, and they voiced themselves. And again, like you said, it's just one of them things where it's like,
yeah. Fortunately, Microsoft is
not
spoiled rich and can afford to delay it for a year and put everything into it,
right? Correct. But yeah, I mean, it's just things like that just bothers me as well, because like you say, you brought up Battlefield, and it's funny because people, like we talked about last week, people start playing Battlefield, people are happy with it because how it looks, or glitches, more so glitches if anything. It's a broken game, but I'm gonna always compare games like that to Cyberpunk, because the difference is people requested refunds from Cyberpunk. People did not request refunds from Battlefield.
But you know, the only reason they did that with Cyberpunk is because the developer themselves, the publisher, CD Projekt Red, went out and put out there, we're going to be offering refunds for this game. And one of the craziest marketing ideas that I've ever seen about trying to regain trust with the fans, instead of telling everybody, hey, we're going to fix this as fast as we can, which is the normal thing to do, we see all the time. They're like, we're going to issue refunds. Yeah, immediately that's like taking your negative attention, right? And you're saying like, hey, we admit that we screwed up royally and we screwed you guys over, so we're offering refunds. And now everybody's like, hey, I'm gonna get a refund. I'm gonna get a refund. I'm gonna get a refund. It spreads around like crazy. Everybody wants to get a refund all of a sudden, right? Even if they were enjoying the game so what, all of a sudden it's not cool to like Cyberpunk, so they're gonna go get a refund. And then they buy the game later when it's like cheaper, right? Or it's just like, hey, that one failed, you know, not really thinking about like, hey, you know, I was enjoying Cyberpunk when I was playing it, right? But I do have this next gen console. It's really those last gen console people that really got screwed on it. But I've talked to a lot of people that played it on last gen, and it didn't play much worse than a lot of other games on last gen were playing that were new games that came out, right? Yeah. So it's just like man, like their marketing department, whoever's making the decisions there at CD Projekt Red on how to handle situations with stuff is like digging themselves into a hole, man. But they can dig themselves out of it like they have before. So we'll see what they do. But it's still a fair example. Key. It's just I think that's more on how they handled it as opposed to people just requesting it all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Like when you like, let's say like EA put out there, hey, we're offering refunds for Battlefield. How many people would like jump at it? You know what I mean? It'd be crazy.
Yeah. But again, you know, I tell people all the time, buy the games you want to buy. Period. I get it. You know, hesitation, like we said, word of mouth, but buy the game you want to buy. Worst case scenario, get the game when it's gonna sell. But don't let somebody else spoil your fun and your excitement. Like don't do that. I tell people that all the time. People come to my stream all the time. Well, how's the game, man? I read this, heard this. I'm like, dude, play it for yourself. Like, because what bother this person might not bother you as much, and vice versa. Like, buy it, play it. I get it, $70 now, you know, going to this gen. I get it, but even if you catch it on sale, I bought 3 games for Black Friday, you know, because I wanted to play it, not because necessarily it's bad or I've been hearing bad things about it. Just I would prefer to pay half price for these games because I have so many other games I want to play first. But I want to own the game to play it. Play the game you want to play. Enjoy games. That's what it's about. Enjoy your games. You know, don't let nobody turn you away from your favorite or could be your next favorite game. You know.
Yeah. 100%, man. It's like just make the decision. Like people can't think for themselves sometimes. It's like I need to be told from the masses what's cool and what's not. You know, like let's just have some fun playing what you like you said, Key. You know, and if people trash on it so much, ignore it and have your fun. But don't sit there and be like, oh, everybody's dogging on this, so I'm not supposed to like it, and I'm going to start dogging on it too. You know what I mean? But the vice versa, if you don't like something, just say, hey, it's not for me. You know, move on. There's no reason because you don't like something, you have to sit there and talk about it all the time on Twitter, on shows, on, you know, social media, on Instagram. If you don't like something, just move on to something else you do like. Like why spend so much time talking about something you hate when you could be talking about something you love, right? So, hey, Nick's Jasper's completely kidding. He's a Halo fanboy, 100%. It's a Halo. Jasper in the chat says Halo is trash, 1 out of 10 unplayable. Yeah, that's sarcasm at its best.
Mhm.
All right, guys. So, if we talked a little bit about it ahead of time about maybe talking about 2022 ahead, like I think we'll probably save that for next week because it is coming up on the 2 o'clock hour, and I think we had some great discussions. Halo, man, astounding to me, loving it. Key's got to have a chance to play it for himself. Fuzzy, you seem like you're into it, and you finally get that Halo, what Halo's all about, So, hey, we'll go ahead and get out of here, but I want to start with Key here. Tell everybody where they can find you, man. And I want to know, like, if send me a DM or something after you play it for like a few hours. I want to know what you think about it.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Like I said, I'm gonna try and play it tonight, actually. So
Yeah,
hopefully I can pull an all nighter.
let's go. Do it, man. Let's get those hours in.
You, man. Hey, I need to while I got the free time, but
Oh, I'll give you
yeah,
one
you guys
tip. One tip, real quick. I'll give you one tip. Okay.
talk to me.
The first couple areas I went to, I realized that the ground vehicles don't matter because you can't get to where you want to go because like there's so much like verticality and stuff. Like, so it used the grapple shot more instead of trying to figure out how to get your warthog up a mountain. Because I like if you watch my first stream, I was like, oh, what the fuck am I supposed? Like they gave me a warthog in this one area, right? And I was like, okay, all the Marines hop in, let's go. And I'm like gonna try and drive them somewhere, but there's like nowhere to go except for this isolated area. So I was like, okay, maybe I should have hopped in with them when I was fighting, and just had them fight and drive around, right? As opposed to try and use it for actually getting around the map. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
well, my biggest concern, well, question I concern, my biggest question about it was when I start the game off, what difficulty am I playing on? Because I've been hearing a lot of people talk about the difficulties with Halo. So
yeah,
I
you're
don't
a
know what's
heroic
difficult.
guy. Playing heroic.
And that's what I was doing, but like I said, I've been hearing people like, man, this is a lot harder than your previous heroic, So
Yeah. What do you usually play Halo at?
Well, not even Halo, just all my games. I play on the hardest difficulty.
Yeah, well, don't do. I mean, Legendary,
right
you're gonna be beating your head up against a wall, right? Jasper's playing on Legendary. 3-bit started playing on Legendary. He's like, maybe I want to take it as a step back, right? I know you're good though, so I mean, you can do Legendary, but I mean, like, you're gonna die a lot, So it depends. Like for me, heroic's that perfect balance where it's like it's a challenge, and I'm definitely gonna die, and I'm gonna have those moments, where I'm gonna have to die a couple times before I figure it out. But it's like it's hard, but it's not like too hard. It's like it's perfect for me, heroic. If you want like just to not worry about that as much, then I would say normal. But I think heroic feels definitely like a challenge.
Yeah, I was just reading the comments there. Yeah. So you getting laid out, huh? But yeah, that's the only thing I was concerned about. But yeah, like I said, you guys can find me on my channel. Just I've been extremely busy this week. I think I did about a good 64, 65 hours in like a 5-day window. So I'm just really busy this next couple weeks, but I am gonna get back to it, especially after the new year. I got some new things going. So you guys can definitely find me over on my channel. And of course here on Saturdays, let's go. I love it. Talking games, laughing, joking, kicking it with you guys. So you can always find me here. You can find me on Twitter, Gaming Key as well. Again, haven't been tweeting much, but I'm gonna get back into it. So just bear with me.
Right on, man. Keep it up. I know this long haul of extra hours is gonna be over soon. So the next couple months maybe at least. But yeah, I hope you can find the gaming time when it comes to you and get that PC up and going, because there's lots of PC games coming out. I don't know if you're gonna dabble into any of those, but there was a lot of good ones that were announced at the Game Awards.
I still want to play Age of Empires.
Oh, so
Because
good.
when it came out, that's when my other PC was messing up.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even download it. So I want to play that.
Yeah, it won some awards too. Hey, Fuzzy Belvedere, the man who is leaving this podcast to immediately go on another podcast. That's amazing. Thanks for being here as always, Fuzzy. Hey, tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
Oh, this was so much fun. Thank you for having me here. It's always great talking with you guys about gaming and stuff. And for anyone that wants to hear my ramblings on anything from Halo to Forza to Insurgency Sandstorm, you can find me on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere, on PlayStation, fuzzy_Belvedere, or Xbox, fuzzy space Belvedere. Like I said, normally playing one of those 3 titles. You can also find me on Mondays here with Mav for tidbits, going over the gaming releases for the week, any of those hidden gems that may have flown under the radar, try to highlight those. So always add to either the backlog or something new to play if you're looking for, those gems. And then Saturday here, 6 p.m. on FSP, Fun Speculation Podcast with Mav and Key. And right afterwards at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can find me on the Shop Podcast with PTK Blam, Pong Soul, and Centurion 1307. And this was awesome. Chat was awesome. I love doing this.
Heck yeah, man. Thank you again, Fuzzy. And have fun on Shop. Tell everybody I said hello. And everybody in the chat, you rock. Thank you so much. Make sure to tune in to all the stuff we have if you like our content. It's a full week usually. And like, share, subscribe, all the fun stuff. I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Later.
Later.